top of it. Today, I want to discuss the business that I've owned for the past 7 years, which started out as a side hustle. And eventually, after a few months of success and profit, I was able to quit my last job, my 9 to 5, working for the Apple Store. And I've been full time ever since with this business, working for myself and unlocking that freedom that I always yearned for. And I'm sure many of you out there may yearn for it as well. And even though this business, like I said, I've been working for 7 years and it's still thriving, there's still a lot of opportunity. And I want to share it with you guys, man, in case you might be interested in it and unlocking some freedom for yourself. This business is phone flipping, reselling electronics, man. Yes, mobile devices, okay? You see, ever since Apple, I think, released the iPhone 10 for $1,000, that's when this business really became a lot more profitable, in my opinion. Although there was people reselling electronics well before then, but it really opened the gates for a new level of profitability that a lot of people can eat off of. And I've seen the benefits of it, and as I mentioned, I'm still in this business. And so it's a really simple business, and it doesn't take a lot of money to start with. It really doesn't. You could start with as little as $50. Hell, you could really start with like $20 if you find the right deal. But the reason I say you can start with 50 or $20 is because you can negotiate into buying somebody else's device that's most likely broken, and you can buy it and turn around and go on eBay and sell it as is. You don't have to repair anything. You can literally just buy it, go home, take photos of it, and list it for the right price that the market's going to pay for it. And eventually someone will buy it in the next day or week, depending on how you price it, depending on how well you take your photos. Now, I know I oversimplified it, but it really is that simple. You see, this business really breaks down into 4 main components that I want to eventually go into more depth on if you guys are interested. It all starts with, firstly, you got to get people to hit you up, right? I know there's people in this business that like to go on like Facebook Marketplace and look up certain electronics, certain phones, laptops, whatever, and message people who are already selling a device and then trying to offer them a low ball and try to see if they'll buy on it. And that way you can make your profit based on them selling it for a low price, which it is possible to do that, but I can discuss later if you guys are interested in as to why that's a waste of time. And the best way to really have a business that's consistent and you're making consistent profits is you want to have people hitting you up and making offers to sell you their device. People that are ready to sell it for a lot lower. That way you have negotiating power and you can actually offer a reasonable price because they're just looking to get rid of the device for cash. You understand? And so that's the first step. That's the first big step of this business, is getting people to hit you up, and so you can make offers all day long at a fair price for them and a price for you so you can make a decent profit. The second step, which kind of ties into that and is going to go hand in hand, is appraising. Okay? Appraisals are the lifeblood of this business because you have to know what these devices are selling for. A lot of people just go into this business and they don't know, they don't have a clue as to what these devices might sell for. And you'll find yourself, if you're not careful, if you're not appraising properly, you're offering too much for these devices. And really, that's what kills this industry. This industry has been hurt by a lot of people offering way too much for devices And in turn, a lot of customers expect to get way too much for their device, and the device is really not worth as much as they think it is. So appraising is basically, in a nutshell, is somebody comes to you, say, hey, I have an iPhone 13 cracked, unlocked. What can you give me for it? Say you're on the phone, they call you, hey, I got that. And you should be able to quickly appraise it within a minute or two and give them a fair offer right on the spot. Now, how you do this is you have to have your eBay pulled up on your phone, and you want to be able to type in what they just told you they have, iPhone 13, cracked, unlocked, all the keywords that you need to look up exactly what they have so that you know exactly what it's selling for, roughly. You want to be accurate. So they say, hey, I have an iPhone 13 cracked, unlocked. What can you give me for it? You're on eBay, as they tell you, searching it up. And what you do is you go to eBay filter, and on the side it'll say, you can mark off where it says sold items. And now eBay is going to filter out it's going to only show you the iPhone 13s that are unlocked and that are cracked. Now, eBay's kind of been a little whack lately. It's been not as accurate with showing you exactly what you might search up. You might see some phones that are not cracked, and you might see other phones and random stuff. But that's why you got to be sharp. You got to be able to filter out and look for exactly what the customer just said they have, so you don't misquote them. And so you're just looking, you're searching, you're finding that item he just said he has. And you're seeing what it's selling for, because eBay will tell you what that item sold for. Somebody else previously sold that item, and you can see the price it sold for. And what you want to do is you want to get about at least 3 examples of that item selling, so you have about an average of what it's going to sell for. So say you see one sold for, let's say, $180. Then you see another one that's sold for $210. And then you see another one that's sold for $170, right? So you get an estimate. It's about in that range between $210 to $170. You average it out. I don't know that number off the top of my head. Let's call it $190, $185. So then now, boom, you see it's selling for about $185. You know that if you list it on eBay, iPhone 13, cracked, unlocked, you list that thing on eBay, it's going to sell for about $185, maybe the lowest $170. And again, I'm just throwing numbers out. I don't know what it's actually selling for, but just to give you an idea, right? So then in your head, you're like, all right, it's selling for $185. You know eBay is going to take off a 10% fee plus really 13% because of the transaction fee and everything. So I always do the math. For me, I take off about 14% just to be honest with how much is going to be taken off. So you say 185 times 14%. It's going to take off about 20 something bucks. So that's about 165, let's call it. So in your head, you're like, all right, if I buy this phone, I can expect to get 165 bucks for it. So you take that knowledge, and I have specific calculations that I use to know exactly how much to offer so that I can give the customer a decent amount of money so they're happy. They're not thinking I'm lowballing, but also I'm happy because I'm actually making some decent profit. And everybody's happy. We all win. You get cash, I get my cash, and we're good. And we rinse and repeat. So let's just say it's 165 I can expect to get back, total revenue. So I'll offer the customer, let's say, I'll offer them about 90 bucks for it. All right, or 85, 90, 85, depending on how I'm feeling. You throw that offer out there. A lot of times customers they won't like that. They'll throw you with a counter offer or say, oh, it's too low, sorry. And that's when you got to negotiate. That's when you got to kind of feel them out. You got to learn how to negotiate. This is an important skill in this business. And really, most businesses, you have to learn to negotiate. And let's say eventually you guys negotiate and come up with an agreement. Okay, $100. I'll give you $100 for it. They agree. Boom. Then you meet up. And then, you make sure everything's as they described it to be. You bought the phone, you go list it, and you sell it for $190. After fees, you take home about $170. So you probably make $65 to $70 after fees and shipping. Shipping's like $4 to $5. Boom, you just profited $70 right there in one transaction, one deal. And you pile those up over the week, man, you can make some real good money. You can see how this piles up. And that's just a random example. There's times where you can profit, I try to aim for $100. That was usually my standard, but there's a lot of competition which offers way too much, so you got to kind of come down a bit and scale up more, get more leads, etc. But anyways, that was a step 2. I think I skipped some steps. Appraisal, that was step 2. Step 3 is, we kind of discussed it, was just selling, being able to list these devices. Trying to think. Yeah, I think I call it 3 steps. It's really 3 steps. It's you got to have your marketing, have people hitting you up, being able to appraise it. Negotiation, I guess, is one of the steps, very crucial. And then selling, knowing where to sell it, how to sell it, etc. So those are really the 4 steps, right? And from there, man, it's only a matter of being able to scale up and be consistent and putting systems in place to have people hitting you up consistently, man, because the more people hit you up, the more money you make, just like any other business. And there's all kinds of extra benefits, techniques. You can upsell, when you have somebody that you're meeting up with, you throw out the fact that, hey, man, I also buy, laptops, cameras, iPads, Apple Watches, game consoles, etc. Most mobile devices. And this is what's going to help you separate from competition, because most people just focus on phones. But if you can say, I buy all kind of devices, and you're going to make way more money like that. With every customer, you let them know, hey, I also buy all these other devices, just in case. You get people that hit you back, repeat customers. That's another vital portion of this business. Make sure you have business cards. They remember you. Do good business. They'll come back. I've had plenty of repeat customers that have really scaled up my business quite a bit. And just so many other things, man, that just make your business as profitable as possible. And, but that's just the gist of it, man. And, like I said, I have not had a job, and I quit in 2019. So it's been over 6 years now. And it's given me freedom. As I mentioned before, man, I've tried other businesses and stuff and failed those. But this business right here has been my bread and butter, and it's enabled me to travel and live the life I really want to live. No boss. I tell myself what hours I work, and it's really as big as you want to make it. If you want to be lazy, you can be lazy. You won't make as much, but hey, you have that freedom. If you want to really hustle and ball out, you can make 6 figures plus. I know people in this industry, it's rare, that have hit 7 figures from, really scaling it up. But that's really a gist of it, man. I would go more into depth if you guys are interested. I got a lot of knowledge on this subject, man, and it's really been my bread and butter, like I said, and I'm sure a lot of you guys can benefit from it. And there's a lot of room for all of us to eat. And yeah, man. So if you're interested in more about this business and this subject, man, let me know in the comments. I'd love to go in on it. This has enabled me to really improve myself and really be able to focus on other aspects of life that are important to me. And I'm sure it'll be the same thing for you guys. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Leave a quick like, you know, that's free. And hit that subscribe button, man. I got more good stuff on the way. And I'll holler at y'all on the next one. Peace.